Hello everyone, I'm Adib Mohsin. I'm a co-founder here at Chyral, and we're building a privacy-first AI agentic browser. So what do we mean by privacy-first? So if you have ever used something like ChatGPT Atlas or Perplexity's Comet, you'll find that you can do pretty cool automations. But they're actually taking screenshots while they do the automation, right? So they want to know where the elements are in order to click and browse the pages, right? So, for example, I've given it a very simple task to go to Arxiv and fetch me the latest 3 AI papers. And while it was doing that, it took these screenshots to be able to navigate throughout the whole process. But here at Chyral, we've taken a very different and radical approach. So if I go to the Automate tab and ask it to do the same thing, right? So yeah, it started the automation, it's doing some planning on what steps to take, and it's going to generate browser instructions. So yeah, in the current tab, so as you can see, it laid out pretty simple instructions. So we're not taking any sort of screenshots to be able to take or generate instructions from it. We're only taking in the HTML data and some site metadata to be able to process instructions and allow the browser to automate navigation throughout the whole thing. So yeah, I do not want my browser to be able to take screenshots because, well, I might ask it to automate some social functions. For example, I could have a page, right? I could have a Facebook page and I want to invite my friends. I'm asking the browser to be able to do that. And just imagine that Comet takes in all of these sensitive screenshots and sending it back to the Perplexity server. And I think that is a clear invasion of my privacy. But Chyral does this very differently. It only takes in the links and it only generates steps from those links, right? So it tries to figure out what sort of browsing steps we need to be able to do in order to complete our challenge. So Chyral is taking a very different approach, and Perplexity does this, and even ChatGPT does this. They take over your screenshots and they send it back to the server to figure out the positions, but we only figure out positions, click positions or the browsing steps from HTML data. So we don't need anything. We don't need anything that is crucial to your own privacy. And Chyral actually takes this much further. So the browser comes pre-installed with its very own native chat. So when this large language model is pre-installed with the browser, we wouldn't have to send it off the internet, we wouldn't have to call any sort of fancy APIs. Every execution happens locally from your machine. So intelligence is owned by you completely. So what do I mean by this? So I'm going to ask it a very simple question of, I have Bengali turned on, give me a mathematical breakdown of Markov chain of probability, right? It's a very simple math question, and it gave me the answer. It starts generating the answer very quickly. It's extremely fast, and every sort of execution happens on your machine, so you're getting that snappy response, right? So it can also generate pretty amazing code. So for example, I can ask it, I'm just switching over to a new tab, and I can ask it, I want you to write me let's just say a visualization of Fourier transform. So I really like Fourier transforms, right? And in Python so I'm just going to ask it to do Pygame because that's really easy to do, to be honest. So programming knowledge and graphics. So you know what? So it gave me a suggestion that I should be using Matplotlib. So you know what? I'm just going to ask it to do the same thing, but using Matplotlib right now because clearly this is what the chat wants me to do. So I'm going to do Matplotlib, right? So yeah, now it's generating the response. So it's a very capable model. It can answer pretty amazing sets of questions. So for example, I can also ask it to do something like, let's just say I want to know what is the capital city of Bangladesh. Let's just start with Bangladesh, right? So what is the capital city of Bangladesh? Right, so it's Dhaka. And now I can also ask it some follow-up questions like, can you tell me what is the total size of Bangladesh in square kilometers? Let's just do that. Very simple questions. I can only spell kilometers, right? Kilometers. Yeah, I think I've spelled it right, but whatever. So yeah, 9,186 square kilometers. I can also verify this information, right? So I can just Google it, right? So I'm pretty sure that it's, well, I'm going to have to perform a captcha, which is pretty annoying. I'm not going to do that. But anyway, you get the gist, right? So you can ask it very simple questions, and you can also ask it to do pretty complex stuff as well, to be able to solve your homework, very simple tasks that don't really require huge amounts of intelligence. So everything stays on your system. Every sort of interaction that happens stays on your system. But the automated part happens over the internet because, well, while the simple chats are very easy to solve on the machine, but automation is a tricky process. So we only send over the HTML data and the site metadata to our private servers, and then we generate the instructions to be able to automate your entire process, right? So you are getting two systems in one, and we are still very early on to the development, so I'd love much more feedbacks on what sorts of features that you want on the browser, what sorts of automations that you'd like to do with the browser. So yeah, we are building this we are now going completely public with building this, and we're also opening up our waitlist so that you guys can join in, and you can also chat directly with us. So we're going to be very very active on socials. We're going to be very active on the site chats. So you can ask us questions or give us some feature requests. So yeah, we are building a very interesting thing. Most of the intelligence that you are ever going to need can happen on your machine right away, and you don't need to pay companies like ChatGPT or Perplexity all these subscription prices for simple things like this. You need to be able to own your own intelligence. That's what I think. And you can also automate most of the annoying workflows of the browser really easily with Chyral. So yeah, this is it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.